Good evening, everyone. I'm doing this video much later because today has been very busy, and I have a few minutes while I'm at work late at night fixing something, and yeah. So while waiting for that, let's do this one. This is actually a shout out to Adrian LeBlanc, who asked about the same question that's been asked 1,000 times, which is how do we use Crisis now that the points have dropped? Because they weren't very popular with the higher points, and even given that most of these things I'm going to talk about still applied, before this, they just struggled because of points. Now they struggle a little less, and we're going to talk about that. So, there are some serious strategic and tactical advantages to the Crisis suits, and I am going to talk about Tau for a while. So, yes, this is today's episode of Some Dude Talks About Tau. But this time with notes, because someone mentioned I should take notes beforehand and not do what I'm doing right now and drag on, now that we're a minute and a half in. Alright, so, greatest things about Crisis. First off, 8-inch fly move with their loadout is amazingly handy. And I know lots of other things we have fly moves and stuff, but we'll get into things. Because if you're thinking things like the Riptide, you're talking about heavy things that are more limited sometimes in their movement. But I digress. Wide range of equipment they can be fitted with, subsystems, weapons, different combinations. I'll cover a few combination ideas and how you can use those in later videos. Today we're going to demonstrate one vocally because I still don't have a way to edit video to really do this well. So hopefully when I get into other setups I can actually do some board play and splice some video together and be like an actual, I guess it's a vlogger? I don't know. You kids tell me. I just work here. Also, remembering that terrain can now be used to block charges. If you're standing on a ledge, if someone can't reach you, most things can't charge you, or a lot of things can't charge you at least. Use that with other things occasionally, but especially with the ability to fly up, move horizontally without penalty to the vertical movement, or for the vertical movement, that gets very handy. So, okay, so we're going to focus again on things that we can do effectively, not including the shooting stuff. Alright, so first off, every weapon option for Crisis suits, other than the plasma, is an assault weapon. So if you like Vorlicept like me, and you should like Vorlicept because it allows us to be mobile, you can move 8 plus d6 inches with a fly move and still fire without penalty for almost every weapon we have. And if you do take the plasmas, you can still fire them, you just don't get the half-range rapid-fire bonus. So yeah, take Viorla, move 9 to 14 inches, and unload on something. Lots of things we'll cover with that later. Another advantage to the Battlesuits is that they, obviously, a lot of the stratagems and other buffs do apply to Battlesuits. Again, not all. Some are infantry-specific and other suit-specific, but there are a few that can be very handy with the Crisis suit. So, move on a little bit there. See, the downside of the notes is now I gotta figure out what I was trying to say here. Right, so if you're gonna take an ethereal with them, and you put them on a hover drone that basically they do have the same move as a Crisis. So, drop the points into an ethereal with a hover drone, let them follow some Crisis around, especially if you're gonna use more than the standard 3. If you're advancing them, Zephyr's Grace, reroll the advance to try to, get your move to be decent. The 6 of Feel No Pain's always nice. And, the reroll 1s if you're in good firing position can be handy, especially if you're using them as an advanced unit, where you're not going to have a lot of support from other units necessarily, backfield or downfield somewhere away from the main army. So, a lot of this is instead of Crisis added to your gun line, because Tau like to run a castle gun line. If you're going to do that, everything else is going to do something better than the Crisis, most likely, with maybe a few exceptions now. For the points, if you're just going to sit there and shoot at something else is going to be better. The Crisis are mobile. If you're going to want some mobile firepower, consider some setups with the Crisis. So, and they're tough, too. People forget to take the Iridium armor. They have a 2-up base save on one model, admittedly, but if you're talking about loads of fire, getting those first 3 wounds through that 2-up save can be difficult, and the base save is still a 3-up, so it's not too shabby itself. That becomes a real pain in the butt if you have a horde of models. Also, if you give them a shield generator, they have a 4-up invuln, which is handy for the higher AP. Obviously, my suggested strategy here would be to put Iridium on one suit and the shield generator on a different suit, because then you can pick which one's going to take that shot without essentially wasting the other one, right? If you're getting shot at with mass fire, pick the Iridium to take, the saves on that 2-up until it's dead, obviously. Downside is, if you do actually get a wound through, then you can't keep doing that if they decide to bring different weapon types at you. But if you're mostly facing down one weapon type, or more specifically one unit, you can pick what they're worst at firing against and save on that first. You could give a shield generator to everyone in the unit, but that kind of really cuts into their firepower. Personal preference. Give one a shield generator, one an Iridium. Don't make it the Shaw's Ray, because you want him alive for morale checks if the other 2 die. But I guess if the other 2 die, you can't fail anyway, so that's not a big deal unless you have a larger unit. 3 wounds each, T5, not crazy resilient, but strong enough that most infantry weapons aren't wounding on anything better than a 5. And then if you have, I think like guard or something, really basic weapons, wounding on a 5, and then you have a 5 and 6 chance of saving it with a 2-up save. You're gonna take a lot of shots to get through, and it's going to be annoying. So, using that to our advantage, I'm going to put forward one possible build here in this video, and I'll do some other ones later. Using these as a bait unit, as in bait your enemies into attacking them, and something they can't ignore. I should have done the points for this. Let me add my. I think this would be somewhere in the realm of less than 200 points. What's a crisis now? Would have been good for this video, but I think you're less than 150 points still with this setup. Maybe right about there. But take a crisis suit, or 3 crisis suits, one with Iridium, a different one with a shield generator, and 8 flamers. And you can put them in Banta Strike and wait to turn 2, but they're really going to do best turn 3, or not waiting until turn 3 to move into position, because you might not want to Manta Strike them. For positioning purposes, it might be better if you can actually move them up the board into position. If you're advancing every turn, because it's flamers, you might as well, even if you're not Viorlicept, always. At least 9-inch move. You can get up the field pretty quickly. Keep them out of line of sight, if at all possible. And whatever unit you want them to go for, and I like to play with a lot of terrain because I do a lot of maneuvering, and I don't like the big math hammer open field shooting thing, and I hope you're playing with decent terrain. Put them on the other side of a piece of terrain from the thing you want to shoot at. Right, and then once you're there, next turn, you can, 9 to 15-inch fly move, or 9 to 14-inch fly move, just go over that terrain, get within 8 inches of the enemy unit, unload your flamers. The math says that, it's 8 to 64 shots is what you're going to roll, which is an average of 28. They're all auto hits. If you're going against infantry, which you should be, most are going to wound on a 3 or 4. Not a whole lot of light infantry, that's T5, but maybe you target something tougher. Still, with the auto hits, kind of offsets that a bit. And then, at that point, you're getting more than a dozen wounds, possibly closer to 20 wounds through on an infantry unit, and 4+, they're only saving half of those. And on 5+, only a third, so you could be anywhere from several models dead to a dozen, or maybe even more models dead on average. And that's just for firing. Now, you're within firing range of your flamers, and if anything's left alive, they're going to try and charge you. Now, they can move back and try to charge you from outside 8 inches. It's doable, but it is risky for most armies, depending on what you're playing, depending on what they have. If they're really chargy, maybe not as much of a risk, but 8-inch charge move is more than they're going to want to charge probably. So they might just risk losing the models, whatever they do. Either way, chances are they're not shooting you off the board unless they are committing way more firepower than they want to towards this unit. Because this is 9 wounds, and you can bring shield drones with them if you're, depending on what the meta is. If you're going to go against something where it's going to have multi-wounds, bring some shield drones to absorb the multi-wound hits. With a unit of 3, you can bring up to 6 shield drones are fantastic. You can use the shield drones to screen if you really want, and then for the greater good to flame somebody, however you want to do that. But even if they're shooting at your crisis at that point, the 2-up save, the 4-up invuln, if you have the ethereal with them, a 6-up feel no pain, you're going to be taking a lot of DACA, and it's going to be unfun for whoever's targeting you. And while they're worried about this, probably what I say about 150 point unit, upwards of 200 if you brought the shields with, maybe, but the shield drones. While they're worrying about that, you're maneuvering the rest of your army into position to do whatever you want. They're going to spend way more than they want on a 2-up, 4-up, 6-up unit that's right up in their face. They can't ignore them. If they ignore you, then you're going to auto-hit your way through their flank. If they charge you, even if they manage to get the charge and live through it and avoid the flamers or however they do that, most not very strong melee armies are going to have a hard time. The 2-up save, 4-up invuln, a lot of different things you can block with that. You're not invincible, but you're not going to go down super easy. If they don't manage to kill you, you have fly move, you can fall back, roast them again, get charged again, use them as such. Yeah, that's my take on them. Most people are going to think, oh, hey, I'm going to charge Tau. So hopefully that works out. They're not going to run away fast enough because you can advance and fire again. So they're not just going to fall back away from that unit, most likely. But that's about all I've got for now on that. Just one idea for what to do with those things. We'll get, I've got some recording equipment getting donated by one of my brothers here this weekend. So hopefully I can get into some stuff, make some better quality videos. I've noticed the volume isn't great on these. Sorry. Also, hopefully this helps me work on my speech because I tend to get carried away and slur and stuff. So, and it looks like my thing is done. So, thanks for listening for all probably 4 people who will listen to this. One of whom will probably be my wife, who will ignore everything I say but play it in the background to make me happy. Thanks, baby. But have some fun. Listen to me drone on about Tau while you're at work if you just want to hear somebody talk about Tau. I like to listen to people talk about stuff I like while I'm at work. That's an idea. I don't know. Like, subscribe, share, maybe? Yeah, share me. There you go. Push the share button. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, that was weird. And I'm not recording this video, so it's going to stay there. Good luck, everybody. Have some fun. Peace out.